Okay, I think we're ready to rock and roll here. Just make sure that we've got everything set up here. And make sure that the chat is not in emote only mode, which it is not. Okay, so it's the weekend stream, which means we're going to play some slower chess. Some rapid and slow chess. I'm trying the, a 2500 player. A couple of new things here that I'm trying. I'm trying the dark theme on Lee chess. And I also changed my piece set. I'm noticing that my camera is just a little bit there. Now we see the full board. Okay, so first game is a 10-15 against a very strong opponent, 2500. So we've been working on the dragon. Let's see if our opponent will go into the Hungarian or if they will move the light squared bishop. So f3 will allow h5. And this is a variation I believe was popularized by Richard Rapport, the Hungarian grandmaster. Yep, that's exactly the line that white chose. And f3 makes sense because you want to deter knight g4. Knight g4 going after that bishop can be annoying. And so black plays h5 for a couple of reasons. A lot of times in the dragon, white tries to go for this kingside pawn storm. So h5 is just putting some space on the kingside for black and trying to slow down or even prevent that pawn storm from white. So that's one reason. The other reason is that depending on how white plays, we might see that. But bishop h6 can be a useful move. And it's nice to sometimes have the rook being able to protect that square. So if white were to go queen d2, then we take here. And I was just going to say the alternative is bishop c4 or even bishop e2. I've seen those two moves as well. Okay, so now I have to make a decision as to how I'm going to play this. So because white did not play queen d2, it's not as impactful taking on d4. Because in this case, white could take back with the queen and they're taking back in one move. Whereas if they were to play queen d2 and then we take, and they were then to take back with the queen, black could effectively say, well, you've spent two moves to move the queen to one square. So that's why I'm reluctant to take on d4 right now, because we don't have that tempo gain. And also the white bishop is on c4, whereas normally if white had played queen d2, the bishop would still be on f1. Could just go bishop to d7. I mean, we could kind of get a transposition. It would be similar to the Hungarian dragon. Yeah, there's a nuance where white plays this first. So yeah, I think I'm just going to go with bishop to d7. And we're not going to commit our dark squared bishop just yet. Okay, so queen d2. So in effect, we could get a very similar position to what I would call the mainline Hungarian, with the difference that white has the bishop on c4. So if I take, white has the option of taking back with either the queen or the bishop. If they take back with the queen, we can play bishop to g7. And we're basically arguing that, well, our bishop is lined up with the queen, and it's on a nice diagonal. We're happy about that. If they take back with the bishop, then we can play bishop h6. And oftentimes white plays bishop e3, and we have this exchange. And what's making me hesitate is that, like I said, normally the bishop is on f1, and this bishop is on c8. So I'm just trying to assess the differences with that setup in the position. So I do know with bishop c4, oftentimes black plays against that light squared bishop and goes after it with, say, knight a5. So I'm thinking either knight a5 or we go into very similar Hungarian style position. Okay, normally I take on d4, but I think I am going to try knight a5 today. Let's give this one a try, just to see the type of game that we'll get. Yep, bishop back. Now, don't think we're in any rush to take that. Could just go bishop g7 or rook c8. Either of those seem acceptable. So let's go bishop g7. All right, let's go a6 with the idea of playing b5. Also, a6 takes away. Pardon me. A6 takes away b5 square from the knights. All right, let's go b5. And we're delaying castling. So this has kind of gotten into what Simon Williams would call the Dragadorf, which Black has played the typical dragon setup with the Fianchetto bishop on the king side, but has thrown in a6 as well, which you don't always do in the dragon proper. And more importantly, we've delayed castling. King is still in the center. So you kind of take the spice out of white going for their typical king side pawn storm, because my king is not on the king side. So white often, in my experience, brings a rook here and tries to open things up in the center. So at that point, we might consider castling once white has committed a rook to the e1 square. Okay, that's a good move. So I think they want to maybe take and then be able to play knight d5, and then they don't have to worry about this recapture. So the question is, do we want to take here, or do we want to play knight c4? Some benefits. I mean, knight c4 makes a lot of sense, because if they do decide to take, then we have an open b file. Any other candidate moves that come to mind? I don't think so. All right, let's do that. Of course, white is not obligated to take the knight. But my opponent decides that that's what they want to do. So what do I do if they play queen e2? Just wanting to go after that pawn and, supporting potential e5 pushes. I really don't want to play rook c8 because I don't feel like the rook belongs on the c file. Now that the b file is open, I want to put the rook there. So it's a matter of, do I want to give that pawn up? Play rook b8, take. Okay, well, it's immaterial now because their opponent has Opted for a different move. So I could take, but then that opens up the E file. But if I don't take, then there's potential for some swaps on f6, and I really don't want to lose my dark squared bishop. So what if we go here, here, queen b6, rather pinning the knight because of this pressure. So we're going to go take, queen b6. Oh, hello, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Maybe rook here. And I'm thinking we'll have to sacrifice e7 pawn. Maybe castles. Actually, I could play takes, and maybe I can flick in c3. Is there any benefit to doing that? So queen takes. Yeah, maybe not immediately. Okay, I think the start is to take. Now we have to make a decision. Yeah, I think we need to pin this knight, because the only square that I could go to right now is b3. If they go anywhere else, this pressure is going to be problematic. So I'm going to give up the e-pawn, more than likely. So for example, rook e1, I'll probably just castle. And then, depending on how they take, they might take with a rook. Take with a rook, I could play rook b8, threaten mate here, and then maybe after play bishop f5. I think I'll have some strong compensation for the pawn, either way. Right, right. So now, yeah, I think taking or castling makes a lot of sense. And the dragon, you can't be scared to sacrifice material. That's for sure. So I'm wondering, like, if, say, take here, maybe I could throw this in, and then play bishop f5. The idea that I want to follow that up with rook c8 hitting the queen, and then I'll have some pressure on c2. If they go here and I play rook b8 first, I threaten some nasty stuff on b2. It gives them the time to play c3 first. which I don't want to allow if I can prevent that. So maybe on that note, the best move for white is c3 now. Okay. Yeah, I think it makes sense to throw this in. Let's just have a look again. So here, bishop here. With the idea of the rook coming here. So where could the queen then go? See, if the queen leaves the knight, I take it with my bishop. So it needs to be in contact with the knight. Yeah, it looks like some serious pressure. Let's give that a try. So we've got a pin on the knight, and we want to bring some pressure here. That's our goal. So we've sacrificed 2 pawns for some open lines, and we're hoping that our attack will come through. Hello, nerdy Asian guy. Pardon me, I am only seeing your message right now. Yes, we're trying a new piece set. Okay, that's a tricky move. So now they're saying, okay, you pin me, but now I'm getting your queen lined up with my pieces. So if I were to go rook here, what are they thinking? Are they thinking like taking here? That may be their plan. So maybe I want to play rook b8. Because if I play rook b8, they go knight takes. Go takes, takes, takes. Let's say knight back to d4. Then I can take here. If I go with this one to hit the queen, not sure that's as good. Take here. Yeah, because my queen is loose. So after takes and takes, I'm just down a piece there. I think I'll have to try rook b8. Does knight c6 do anything? No, I don't think so. I just take here in that case. All right, let's try this one. course, the other way that we could play is here, take, check, king c1. Then we could just take back here. Okay, that is a huge concession. b3. So if I bring the rook here, it's similar, may not be as effective. I wonder if I can take on c2. I don't think so. Okay, I'm going to have to try this one. But I think my opponent has found a really good way to deal with my attack here. Originally I was going to take back here, but I might have to take the knight. Because knight h6 is coming, and then they can grab f7. Ah, they're going to do it first. Very clever. Very clever. Nice intermediary move. Well, this is why this fella is 2,500. Very nice move. Very precise. Yeah, so if I have any hope, I have to take the dark squared bishop. I have to keep my dark squared bishop. I can't go after the knight and let them keep their dark squared bishop. So I'll be down 3 pawns. Probably just downright lost at this point. It's a lot of material to be down by. However, white is not without weaknesses either, so we'll see. We'll play this out and see. Just have to defend that pawn. Rather unfortunate move that we have to make. Yeah, rook e8 would be nice, but I think they just go rook e4 and offer the exchange. We're running out of steam. Yeah, so he's going to bring the other rook in. Yeah, I don't think we have enough here. Yeah, well, rook f7 is mate. King h8 wasn't going to do anything either, so nicely done by our opponent. So let's see, typical dragon position. Let's see now. So knight d5 apparently was a mistake. So engine does like this, says it's equal. Castles. Ah, so it really didn't like my c3 move. So my c3 move just didn't pan out. Okay. So had I just played bishop to f5, which was my alternative, that was stupid of me. I mean, yes, I was just concerned about white being able to play c3 themselves, solidifying the knight. And so that was one of my motivations of playing c3 myself, in addition to opening up the c-file. But of course, if I just go bishop f5, you can't play c3 right away because of the check. And of course, white cannot take this bishop due to checkmate. So amazingly, engine is suggesting queen c3, which looks like a nightmare, setting up the queen right next to the knight on that diagonal. So for some reason, the engine wants to trade this rook off. I guess if I go rook to b8, I don't have enough. Oh no, it says that's okay. Wants to just bring the bishop back. Queen c5. Yeah, so black is doing fine here. Down a pawn, but we have the two bishops and white is tied up. So it's amazing how just that one little extra pawn that we gave spoiled everything. I had overlooked the strength of this move. Bishop e3, very nice move by our opponent. And at this point, it's +3. Yeah, so I don't think we had much after this. That comes to show how high level 2500 is. Yes, I agree. Okay, well, let's see if we can... Actually, let's go back there. Can we offer our opponent a rematch? How do we do that? Maybe I gotta go back. Ah, they don't want it for rematch. Maybe they're closed for rematches. let's see if we can challenge them. Oops. Challenge to a 10-15. Wait a minute, was it 10-15 or 15-10? I'm getting old, I can't remember. 10-15, okay. And this time I should be white, yeah. Let's see if they want to play. If not, we'll have to look at the pool. Oh, interesting. They are challenging us. And we have black again. Okay. Okay, well, rather than play the same opening, let's go with our other opening. The Scandinavian. Yeah, quite a few people have been playing h3 on, what's that, move 5? I've seen that a lot. I don't think that is the best way. I think a lot of the accepted practice is that g3 with an eventual bishop to f4 is the recommended approach. But certainly h3 makes a lot of sense. Nothing wrong with h3. In fact, it does support g4 and if white wants to fianchetto. So it's certainly logical. Oh, well, hello. Welcome. Good day to you. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so this is all pretty standard stuff. Black gets pawns on e6 and c6, very much like a Caro-Kann. And so black is arguing that, yeah, we've moved the queen around a couple of times, but we're setting up a solid structure and we're going to be okay. That's the argument that black is making. All right, so now I've got two choices. It's either bishop to e7 or we go knight b to d7. I like knight b to d7 purely because if knight e5, we can take right away. If I were to go bishop to e7, there's knight e5, and then if I follow it up with knight b to d7, it gives white the opportunity to play bishop to f4. But now that I'm seeing that, maybe that's all right, because I could still take here. And they'll get a tempo on the queen, but we'll regain a tempo with queen b4, because we'll hit the light squared bishop. My hesitancy of knight b to d7 is rook e1, bishop to e7, And maybe I'm just thinking of ghosts. Wondering if there's anything with d5 here. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe it's just the blitz games that I've played. People have tried that. Okay, let's go knight b to d7 first. Either should be playable. Now we're going to go bishop e7. Okay, bishop g5. I think we can just castle. So we should be pretty solid here. Now I've seen white sometimes go bishop h4, bishop to g3, lining it up on that diagonal. I don't think I'm going to be too concerned about that. Like I said, I've always got queen b4 if need be. So I really just want to bring my rooks in the middle. Okay, so knight there makes sense. Takes a outpost. So now I could take the knight. I do take, I could swap queens. Knight here. I don't know if I want to do that just yet. Might want to get my rooks involved first. I'm wondering if there's any like knight takes f7 stuff to be concerned about. Yeah, if I go rook e8, I'm wondering about knight takes, king takes, g4, bishop g6, and there's rook takes e6. Robert James Fisher, that's a great username. Thank you for the follow and welcome to our stream. Good to see another Fischer fan in the audience. Yeah, so maybe I'll go here just to kind of preemptively get out of any of that stuff. So if I go bishop to g6, just have to be concerned about any potential sacrifices here. I think I'm okay though. So let's try that. What's that? Brizo? Brizo, thank you. Welcome. Welcome and thank you for the follow. I'm going to have to increase the font here. Bye, Ciso. Bye, Ciso. Question from Porcupine. Care for a challenge after this game? Yeah, we could play. Bear and Burn. Welcome to the stream. Hello to you. Thank you for the follow. Playing some rapid chess at the moment. Biciso says, I played with your current opponent today, and he played with 0 weak move or mistake or blunder, with a 97% accuracy, and made me suspicious. Okay, well, thank you for the for that information. I'll take that into consideration. I'm not really worried about cheaters online when it comes to chess that's not played for money. Okay, so now lining up bishop with the queen. I think it makes sense for me to take here. If they take back with the pawn, yes, it's true that I am forked, but I would have been able to exchange queens there. So I could go to d7, or I could go queen b4 just to get the tempo on the bishop. I'm kind of preferring the queen to d7 just to kind of stay nearby and help with the defensive things. So I think that's what I'll do. Bear and Burn. If I knew about that earlier, I'd have the perfect tip for you. Okay, so let's play rook to e8 just to give some protection to e7 and e6 as well, perhaps in the future. So yeah, black has a rather passive position, but also solid. Passive and being solid tend to go hand in hand. Not so easy for white to break through in the Scandinavian in my experience. All right, so I could just bring my rook into the fray. Is there any funny stuff if he goes, if they go d5, and if I take this way, there's bishop attacking queen and the rook. But of course, I'm not obligated. Whoa, sorry folks. What the heck did I just do? What did I just do? I just messed up the board for you kind folks. There we go. I think we're back. I think we're back. Okay. So, yeah, if I go here, don't think I have to worry too much about this stuff. I could take this way. So let's do that. Okay, bishop to d3, yeah. So wants to exchange some pieces, I guess. Could play queen c8 just to get out of the line of fire. And maybe we can shoot for c5 at the right moment. I just caught my cat licking my phone screen. What's that about? Maybe your cat likes the position on the board. It's a very cat-friendly position. Now, if I'm going to shoot for like a c5 break, I do have to be cognizant that I lose the b5 square coverage. Okay, so if I don't take the knight right away, are they going to go knight g5? And then with ideas of, I don't know, bringing the queen over here, could be problematic. Yeah, I don't think I want to allow any of that stuff. So now I could break. I think I could break through here. To break or not to break? That is the question. I could also like slowly prepare. I wonder if that may not be necessary. Yeah, I like the idea of doing it right away because if I allow them to get c4 in, and then go for c5 myself, it gives them the option to push. I mean, they could push right now, of course, but I wouldn't be as threatened by that because they wouldn't have been able to get a pawn on d5 permanently. So maybe now we can set this up, and then only when we're ready, take on d4. Ah, the cat is black. Maybe he likes black's position, says Porcupine. Makes sense? Makes sense to me. I don't know, maybe white wants to open things up that way. Yeah, maybe that's why this is a multi-purpose move, doubling up and also giving the rook the opportunity to go to the king side. I like leaving the bishop here. I mean, I could go to f8 to protect this pawn, but I like how the bishop is keeping an eye on those two squares. Now, they can't take, well, I mean, they could take that pawn, but then they lose the rook. I think objectively this should be drawn, but who knows? You still have to play the game. Okay, I could play queen c4 and rely on tricks so that they can't take here. Just wondering, queen c4, if that encourages b3. Then here takes c4. Don't think I want to encourage that. So what I might do is I will play b6 here. Hello, Durian Defense, not Random Fisher, yes. So now I'm giving myself the idea of either queen c4 or even queen a6, because then I'm hitting the a2 pawn. Okay, so wants to trade everything down. They'll have control of the D file. Well, I don't think there's a reason why not to trade. All right, let's go queen b7. I want to see if I can get in b5. So white has a 3 versus 2 majority here on the queen side. All right, I think a6 makes sense here. Okay. To play b5 or not to play b5? That is the question. almost having to play that move. I want to get my pawns off of the dark squares. This Chess Ninja 777. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. I'm trying to figure out what am I going to do if they play bishop to c5. Bishop c5 looks uncomfortable for me. Don't think I can take it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. Yeah, this is the problem. They're going to achieve the pass pawn. Well, maybe I could pin the bishop. Pin the bishop to the queen. Yeah, this is very well played by my opponent to create that pass pawn. I thought I had it under control, but I could be lost here. Well, let's try to make it difficult for them. Try to make the advance of that pawn a challenge. Maybe I've got just enough counterplay to keep things balanced here. Okay, so I probably should get out of any checks just to be safe. Really? So can't I just take that? Why can't I take that? Oh, for Pete's sake, that's why I can't take it. Ah, brain fart. Brain fart. Oh, now there's no doubt. I'm definitely lost. All right, we'll play for a few moves. Okay, nicely done. Yeah, too bad for that brain fart. I don't think I should have played bishop there. I wonder. Okay, so it looks like that wasn't good. That was my alternative was to try to get some play around the king, but it does look like with best play this should be a draw. Yeah, f5 makes a lot of sense here too. So get some more squares. But my opponent played well. They created the pass pawn. Wonder if there was a way for me to make that more difficult. A6 is okay, and B5 is okay. Take. Bishop C5. Okay, that's interesting. Engine says that I could take on C5. Well, I didn't like this because, like, what do I do after queen to D6? Oh, I can just take it. Right, so that's why they throw the check in. Okay, throw the check in. And then maybe queen D6. Right. Because now my king can't catch the pawn if I were to exchange. I can go queen E4. Check here, takes. I create a passer myself. Okay. Right, and the queen, I guess, has to maintain control of some of these dark squares, because if they go to D7, I've got some check, some perpetual, and if the king goes back, we just go back and forth. And if G3, we attack here, check. Can we just go queen F3? Ooh, queen F3 would not be good. Queen F3 would not be good due to queen D4. That's why I got to stay on F5, because if queen D4, I can play. I thought I could play E5. Ah, right, the pawn's on a dark square, so we could play queen C2, just holding on to the pawn. Okay, very interesting. So it looks like I could have exchanged the bishops there on C5, but even then, my move in the game. Okay, it looks like, yeah, that was a critical mistake. Because once white has the pass pawn, it's much better for white. That makes sense. Okay, well, hey, very well played. 2,500 player shows how it's done. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick break, folks. I gotta feed the dog. She's whining here, but I also have to make a quick pit stop and refresh my coffee. So let me put our super duper sign up, and while I'm away, let's tune into some Rapid. Maybe make that a little smaller. Okay, be right back, folks. Okay, we are back. Let's take that message off. All right, well, two very interesting games against a very strong opponent. Let's see who we're playing next. We've got a challenge. Porcupine wants to play. Okay, one of our viewers. Let's play Porcupine. All right, let's start with D4. We've been working on some D4 lately. And we've been playing the quote-unquote boring London system. Which is not always a boring opening. You can get some interesting positions in the London. Okay. Yeah, this is the line that always trips me up. Queen b3, c4, queen c2, bishop f5, take, take. Yeah, maybe instead of queen b3, I just play queen c2. Queen c2, bishop f5, take, take. One of these days I am going to learn how to play this properly. Well, maybe that's it. So queen b3 here, queen c2, bishop f5. We take, take. Then we play king to d1. Queen takes the rook. We come back with our queen, and the black queen is out of play. Yeah, that might be the way to go about this. Okay, that looks promising. Let's try it. And of course, Porcupine plays their move right away. So I didn't have anything to worry about. But yeah, I do believe that I played this one accurately this time. Okay. So now with the knight developed, bishop f5 doesn't work because after queen takes, we simply can move the rook. Because before the knight was blocking in the rook. So we'll be able to chip away at the C pawn at some point in the future with b3. Okay, so that's a good move, wanting to, I mean, that's a very annoying bishop. So it makes sense to get rid of it. The question is, do I spend a tempo to come back? Or do I just develop a piece? Because I'm not really concerned about that pawn structure, because I'll have a clamp on e5 square. But if I do allow that, excuse me, apologies, folks. Okay, so if I do allow that, then I take away the e4 break. So that's the question. Do I want to take away the e4 break or not? I don't think that's as important because I'll always have the b3 break. Yeah. Okay. So I've convinced myself. So we're going to attack the knight and basically strongly suggest to black to take that right away, and black obliges. Okay, multi-purpose move, probably wanting to fianchetto, but then also there's some ideas of bishop to f5. I could go g4 to take that square away, but then I wonder about h5 here. Is that getting messy? I could play f3. This is interesting. What about g4, h5? Play f5 right away. That could make things really messy. I mean, I really like the idea of taking that square away from light squared bishop, because how else is black going to develop that piece? It does leave this pawn very vulnerable, though. The minute I play g4, this pawn could be a problem. Okay. I'll play this move, bishop to f3. So I want to take that square away from the light squared bishop after bishop f5, and also it's taking a look at that square. And we're also attacking the d pawn too. So we're going to have to play a little faster here. We have played porcupine before. That game looks like I had black in that game. I don't remember it. Might have been a modern. All right. So by not playing g4, if this pawn is ever attacked, we have the option to secure it with g3. And by having these two pawns here, yes, we don't have an e4 break anymore because the e3 pawn is moved. But these two pawns have a lock on e5, so it's going to be hard for black to get in e5 themselves. They'll have to, if that's the break they want, try to somehow get in f6 and then e5. But f6, of course, creates further weakness on g6. So we'll see how Porcupine decides to play this. E6 does protect the d5 pawn, but that's way too passive because your bishop is blocked in by its own pawn. So I'm really thinking bishop f5, queen c1, and then maybe e6. Although I can understand there's some hesitation because then this bishop doesn't have a lot of safe squares to go to. D3 is the only one at the moment. So bit of double-edged decision perhaps. But I think we can keep I think black can keep the bishop safe there. Not seeing how white would be able to exploit that. So yeah, we got to play queen c1. We need just to hold on to this pawn. And okay, rook d8, good move. So that's how black has dealt with that. Black is saying, hey, I don't have to play e6. I can defend my pawn with my rook. So very good move. I like that move. All right, let's develop another piece. Then I think we'll look at castling in b3. The knight here is a very good defensive piece, looking at those three pawns. Okay, black is getting ready to castle themselves. Makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I think we'll do the same. We'll castle first. Okay, so queen c7 is hitting f pawn, but currently my knight is holding on to that square. Okay, well, let's start chipping away at that pawn structure. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So if I go a4, I'm just wondering, is b4 a possibility? No, I think I like my setup there. So, all right, let's try to open some lines on the queen side. Get a rook involved. Okay, so I like opening up the lines. Let's see any reason why not to. So let's open up the queen side. Okay, we'll move our rook to e1. So I'm thinking the bishop's going to come to d3 someday, so I didn't want my knight to be pinned. And the king castles into safety. So everything is logical so far. foresee a rook coming there, so it'd be nice if we could get the rooks doubled up, or at least get the queen and the rook lined up. So let's try that. Let's try to get the... I mean, this would be nice if we could get that, but at least get the queen and the rook on that file. Of course, if they go rook a8 right away, then this d pawn is unprotected. So I think they'll have to spend a move to address that. And I'm wondering if I have a tactic here. I'm seeing something. Not quite sure it works, though. It's intriguing. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, an important decision for black, so understandable that some time being spent here. Okay, defending the pawn with the queen. Okay. All right, so let's get our queen over here. So now we have control over the A file. I think in that position right here, black was perhaps worried about this idea. Not quite sure if it all was working out, but that was what I was looking into. I may have still played queen a3 there, but that's possible what black was thinking about. Okay. Play knight c1 to hit the bishop. Yeah, that might be the best idea, because if I go knight g3, then this pawn, just wondering about bishop h6, because then I can't move it, so I lose that guy. All right, let's see what they're going to do with the bishop. And we're also opening up our rook too, so. So are they going to leave the bishop there? Are they going to move it? Are they going to protect it again? Okay, I was wondering about that move. So I think I have to play this move. It's the only safe square for the rook. Now there might be some knight takes c4 in the air. I think there might be some knight takes. So if I take and they take, I can just unleash my bishop. So if I take, are there any tricks? Well, knight b8 hits my rook, but then I can play rook a7, followed by moving my knight, because rook a7 hits the queen. Is there anything funny like this? Ooh, that might be the move. Take and take. Yeah, I don't quite care for that. Well, let's actually see where they're going to put that bishop. The light squared bishop, seems to be vulnerable here. this looks uncomfortable for black now. Maybe bishop d3 is the best. Okay, they feel the need to sacrifice. Okay. All right. Let's see what that's going to bring them. Okay, so the idea is that if I take, they're going to take my rook. Okay. All right. Yeah, I can see the merits of that. Ah, missed that. Nice move. Yeah, that was a blunder on my part. So they have two pawns for the piece. Oh, I'm just blundering left, right, and center here now. Yeah, that was stupid. Well, now I dare argue that black is better here, so. Yeah, I spoiled my advantage, and probably worse now. So nice sacrifice by black. Very, very good idea. Okay. I thought bishop f5 was better there because I don't think I had g4. Okay, all right, I see the idea. So if I go bishop e2, so they're going to have three pawns and a rook, and I'll have knight and bishop. So it's definitely in black's favor. Might make this my last game. How long have we been streaming here? Yeah, just about 2 hours, so it might be a shorter stream today, folks. Well, with time trouble and the weakness of my king, I feel like I had to go through with that trade. Probably objectively now, with best play, it's a draw. Black has a rook and 2 pawns. I've got the 2 pieces. Well, we'll get a check, but I think that's all we're going to get. Okay, I think g5. Probably just black had to try to exchange my rook. just leave the pawns where they were. Now I feel like this is giving me some chances due to black's king position. Hmm. Well, barring any blunders, this is winning for white. It's a little unusual because, okay, well now we're going to trade the rooks, and this will be a much easier conversion because as long as I keep this pawn, I'll be able to pick off those two guys. So really tough game, Porcupine. Very nice sacrifice here. Of course, objectively, um, computer shows that um, white is still better here. However, I am not a grandmaster. I am not an engine. So for practical purposes, this is a great move. That was a very nice idea. Now I played rook a7, and now I'm worse, as the engine shows. It's -1. So what I should have done instead, the other alternative I was considering was rook a5, but even that is showing that it's better for black. So that just goes to show that You can look at chess academically and say, yeah, the engine says this, the engine says that, but when you're playing a practical game, you want to give your opponent problems to solve, and Porcupine did a great job here. He gave me lots of problems to solve. I don't think this is good. I'm down a pawn here. Two pieces. Yeah, I could see why that's better for black. Those blacks, especially with that pass pawn. Engine shows bishop to d1. Ah, bishop to d1. That is not a natural looking move when you're in time trouble and you're facing a chaotic position. Yeah, that did not register for me. Maybe I would have found it if I had 5 minutes left on the clock, but not with less than a minute. That's a tough move to spot. So once I get the light squared bishop out of there, I should be able to untangle. However, if this is how the game would have gone, still some really good practical chances here for black. I say this game is far from over here. So very nice sacrifice by Porcupine. It's a very nice idea. So in this position, what did I play? I played Queen A2. Maybe that was just stupid. Maybe I should just kind of abandon the fact that that bishop is there. Even though the engine likes Queen A2. Downside between my Queen A2 move is that there's sometimes when I want to be able to play Queen C5. So I was just curious about Knight A2. Of course, the engine hates that. Queen C7, G3, Rook B8. And it gives this as minus 3.5 in black's favor. Wow. Probably because of this passer. The combination with the bishop. And white probably is going to have a hard time holding on to the b pawn, perhaps. That could be a weakness. Oh, and d4, of course, too. Yeah, d4 is probably the biggest concern here. Very interesting. Let's look at the opening because that is a line that is tripping me up. So engine just wants to play Queen C2 right away. I play Queen B3, which is okay as well. During the game, I was curious about Bishop F5, and I'm pretty sure I got it right. So what I was planning here was actually King to D1. Looks like that would have been a howler. I thought I could keep the queen locked in there, but it looks like the engine says no, you cannot. I guess the knight is wanting to come here. So why can't we play knight F3? Knight E4. Ah, because knight takes c3 is a threat. I see. I thought we could play bishop g3. But knight takes c3 is a threat because the pin. Yeah, so porcupine correctly explains it. Yeah. So rather than my king d1 idea, you grab some pawns. Play queen b5. Ah, okay. So now we're threatening to grab this. We've got pressure on b7. What happens if black just goes like that? Oh, I see. I thought we could take on c4 because we hit the queen. It's better to play this first. Yeah, we're going to grab one of them with check. Okay. Okay. Well, I was correct in that I didn't think bishop f5 was good for black there, which just wasn't correct in my continuation. So I'm going to have to remember that next time. Okay, so here. Okay, engine didn't like that I allowed black to take my bishop. Wants to play bishop to g5. But I don't know. I think that's just the engine valuing the two bishops. Okay, really didn't like my bishop f3 move. Maybe that was getting a little too fancy. I mean, I could have just brought the knight out. Okay. I mean, it's showing minus 0.4, minus 0.5. I mean, what does that mean? I always think if it's around that on either side, it's rather close to equal. Obviously slightly in favor of black, according to the engine, which I could see. Yeah, I could see black being slightly better here, but I don't think there's any reason why this can't be a draw with best play. So takes. Maybe rook e1 was a little too slow. Wants to play knight to g3. So I guess you can't be greedy and take that. Ah, okay, we got this tactic. Okay, that's very clever. Well, I played rook e1. Castles. And I guess this doubling on the A file didn't really pan out for me. And interesting, engine is looking at g4, which I considered. I guess this bishop is more of a nuisance to me than a problem for black, so especially with how the game went. I was never able to get rid of that pesky guy. So maybe bishop d1 here would have been okay as well. Yeah, that would have been the better way to go. Okay, let's go to the end game though, because that was interesting as well. So here I just completely blundered. It looks like black had a much better move here. I'm not looking at the engine right now. I'm trying to see if we can find the reason. Oh, it doesn't like that. I just take and take. So that's not the reason. Is there any bishop takes f2 stuff? Because technically white is up a piece here for some pawns. Am I just missing something silly? Queen b4 says porcupine. Okay. Okay, because the knight is loose. I see. Right. So the knight on d2 is loose. As is the rook. Yes. And so if I have to make a move like this, probably bishop to d1 here. Yeah. Black is gonna cash in with something here. I mean, it's true that the queen holds the knight, but if we go back, like bishop c3, and there's just too many weaknesses here. Okay. Also understandable, porcupine was getting in low time here too. I mean, queen b6 makes a lot of sense too, right? I mean, you're threatening to take on f2, and of course, I have no idea why I played rook a3. So at this point, I'm just outright lost. I was a little surprised by bishop d3. I thought maybe just bishop f5 here. Because I can't play g4 right away, I didn't think. Because of queen g1. But maybe we take here first. So I was happy to take that bishop off, although, you know, objectively, I'm still much worse here. I didn't realize that it was going to be -3. I thought maybe it was like -2 at the most. But I guess it makes sense because black has 3 pawns for the exchange. No, 3 pawns. 3 pawns and a rook versus knight and bishop. So I liked this maneuver. I'm basically centralizing my queen. I remember an international master told me once, now mind you, this is not a queen endgame, but in a queen endgame, he mentioned that he likes to have his queen centralized. And I think this game is a good example of that because my queen on d4 was covering the check on a1, also was covering some key squares here, and who knows, I mean, there could be some problems for black to solve. So I was happy with that maneuver, although, yeah, still much worse here. So let's see where things started to turn. Yeah, queen g4 surprised me. I was more concerned with just coming right back. And then maybe rook a2. Although I guess there's no threat on that line, is there? I just thought queen h2 keeps an eye on these two squares. Oh, okay. Sorry, porcupine. Your headphones ran out, so that's unfortunate, but well played. Well played. Here I started to feel okay that I could get a draw. And after, yeah, that definitely leads to drawish territory. Because the big issue for white here is king safety. Whoops, pardon me. So yeah, queen d1 is what the engine wants to play. Bishop a2, queen a1. That's interesting. So if I go in for the endgame here, I guess the difference is black still has these incredible pawn chain. So that's why black is better. Still some work to do, but yeah, definitely black should win this. Okay, well, I think that's going to be it for me there, folks. I don't know if I've got another game in me. Let's see, who's in the pool here? Do I have a 10-minute game in me? All right, we'll play one 10-minute game, and we'll call it a day. Okay, so we're going to get a London system here. And I like to play aggressively, which often leads to the exchange carrow, except when white plays knight c3. That's not a problem for us, though. Knight c3 is, what do they call that? The Jobava? Jobava London? Popularized by the Georgian GM. I believe he's from Georgia. Okay, so we trade that pesky bishop. And now we're ready to castle. The pesky bishop, you know, it makes it hard to play rook b8 when that bishop is on that diagonal. So it's useful to exchange. Okay, let's put a rook on e8. And now let's strike in the center. Free up our pieces. Now we can get our light squared bishop out. And we're the one with the strong pawn center. Maybe we have some ideas of trying to attack the king this way, but we'll see how white plays. White obviously is going to want to stop us from doing that. Yeah, I should maybe sit back so you guys can see me on the camera here. Okay, rook b1. Ideas of playing b4. Can't do it right away because the knight is in trouble there. Okay, let's shore up our pawn center and bring our other rook into the action. Okay, we've got things centralized. Okay, so now white is ready to play b4. How best to proceed here? All right, let's play b6 to get out of the line of fire of that bishop. Now, I don't think we want to trade our bishop for that knight. Let's keep that bishop. With ideas of playing d4. Yeah, I kind of thought knight d3 was going to be played. Bring the queen back so that we're out of the line of fire of that rook. Okay, do we play d4 right away? Maybe we give our king a spot to go to. Yeah, I don't think we're in any rush. Let's give our king an escape square. Then maybe we can look at d4 next move. Okay, well now they've got the rook lined up. So if I go d4, I've always got to be concerned about this. So that's a good move by our opponent. So let's go queen d7. Yeah, so they want us to sacrifice on h3. I don't think it's working. So we're not going to do that. Yeah, I don't know if d4 is actually accomplishing much, is it? Well, it puts pressure. I mean, it opens up some lines. Let's give it a try. Maybe with white's queen in line of sight of our rook on d8, that'll cause some problems for white. thought that lost material. Why can't I just do this and this? And then I'm forking. Maybe the idea is that they're going to go knight c6. Then I have that move. So what's the idea here? Evidently, my opponent thought that that was not a possible move. I think they're just going to lose some material here, but I could be wrong. Goodness knows I've been wrong many times already this morning, or now this afternoon. Yeah, so we'll definitely make this the last game for the stream. Yeah, and white resigned. That's understandable. So obviously if they take, I've got more attackers than defenders, so I've just got an extra knight. And if they simply move the bishop, well, unfortunately, the two rooks are forked. And I thought maybe they were thinking that this did something, because if I had to move my rook, then perhaps they could have taken here, but yeah, even that I don't think does much, does it? I mean, I suppose I could still play d2 here, because after takes, we take with check, and we're up extra material. Okay, so we finish off on a nice little win. So thanks everybody for tuning in. And if you haven't done so, check out my YouTube channel and our Discord channel. You can use, you can find those links on our Twitch page, or you could use exclamation mark YouTube exclamation mark Discord, and you can stay up to date with whenever I stream and whenever I share some resources. Other than that, you folks have a good rest of your Saturday, and we'll see you at the next scheduled stream, which is Tuesday for Title Tuesday. Bye-bye.